Happy Saturday morning. Good morning to you. Happy you're here for day 2 of the Fall Vintage and Thrifted Marathon. Yesterday we had a fabulous market day, and today we're kicking off our DIY portion of this event that we host 4 times a year, according to the seasons, of course. So come on in. I can't wait to show you what I have today, and join me and the rest of our creative team that will be presenting to you today. A new presenter will be live every 30 minutes, giving you amazing ideas on how to incorporate things that are vintage and or thrifted into your home decor. So I think you'll be in for a pleasant surprise of the projects and ideas that you will see today, and they will be short and quick, so you won't want to blink. You might miss a minute. But if you do, all of the video replays will be available pinned in the featured section of the All Things Vintage and Thrifted Facebook group, as well as our Craft Round the Clock group we're co-hosting in this weekend. Come on in. Good morning, Miss Karen and Miss Mary. I do want to take a moment and make sure that we are live streaming into all of the places this morning, because we have some amazing watchers and followers that are waiting to find us today. Good morning, Miss Paula. Good morning, Miss Donna and Brenda. You all come on in. I hope that you are still comfy and cozy in your bed this morning. Of course, unless you're on the other side of the globe, then I guess that may not hold true. Good morning, Miss Lori and Jamie. How are you? Well, you see what I have today, right? Yesterday, many of our market day sellers had some amazing fabrics, materials, and maybe lace or different quilt patterns or doilies. I'm going to be using several of those elements today in my project. Good morning, Miss Mary. How are you? Good morning, Miss Irma. I'm so excited y'all are up bright and early. Give me just a moment to share us over into the groups, I should say, because people are waiting for us this morning. How are you, Miss Barb? Good morning, Tammy. There's Miss Jackie. How are you all? Okay, one more into the Craft on the Clock group, and then we are ready to roll. Now, there you go. It's 8 a.m. where you are, Barb. You must be on Eastern time zone. Yeah, it's 7 a.m. here in Central time zone. Where can I put this? I have big objects today for my project, so I have lots of things scattered out. I had to make sure I had to clear room for everything to fit up here today. Let me go ahead and plug in our hot glue this morning. Good morning, Miss Sandy and Betty. Good morning. Oh, thank you so much. 5 o'clock. Oh, Miss Irma. Yes, ma'am. That is early. You better be still in your comfies and in your bed this morning, I hope. Good morning, Miss Cheryl. Thank you so much for sprinkling me out. I so appreciate that. So, in Pennsylvania, that's right, Barb, that's right. You got your shirt. Yay! I'm so glad. Well, I just got mine yesterday. As a matter of fact, I kept thinking, oh, I'm not going to get mine in time. I'm not going to get it. But I did. I got it finally yesterday, and I was like, whew, good thing. But we have opened, the shirt printing company has opened up the orders once again. If you would like to grab one, all of that ordering information is in my video description today. I want to make sure that everyone was able to get one that wanted one. I know some of you missed it. But the last day to order is Wednesday, so don't wait. Don't wait, and this will be the last time ever that they are available. So grab one now. There are 3 color options. There's a V-neck option, and I think you'll love them. I think you'll love them. They are short sleeve, but you can pair them like I have with a long sleeve button up, or like a denim jacket or a cardigan, to really dress it up for fall. You're going to order another one, but a different. I think I am too, Sandy. I think I am too. I think I'm going to get the mauve one. I think the mauve V-neck. Good morning, Miss Carolyn. Okay, so here's my spotlight fabric today. We're using a vintage fabric. Now, this is from my friend Esmeralda from Lovett's Garden. I've talked to you all about her before, and I showed you this fabric last week this week on Wednesday, I unboxed some goodies from her, and this was one of the vintage fabrics patterns that she had in her box. Good morning, Miss Elizabeth. Awesome. It's all in the video description today, so you won't miss it. I'm going to use this. That's our first vintage piece. And here's another vintage piece. Let me pull this out. This was also from Miss Esmeralda a while back. This, I'm guessing, might be the edging of, like, I don't know, a curtain or maybe a towel or a bedspread or a pillow sham. Actually, I bet it came off of the outside of a pillow. I bet. You're going to order one, the mauve one? Oh, good, Eileen, good. This is the rust-colored one. And it can look different in different lighting, and it can look different depending on what colors you pair it with. So I've seen some of the ladies wearing it, and it looks a lot lighter. And it depends on, you know, like if you pair it with something that's dark, or if your lighting is really bright, it can almost appear like a dark salmon color almost. But there's a mauve, and then there's a harvest color or an autumn color. Can't remember if they call it autumn or harvest, but it's like a deep orange, like a rusty. It's actually called rust, I think. Or this one might be called rust. I don't know. One or the other. There's 3 options. You'll see them on there when you go to the page. Good morning, Miss Cindy. How are you? All right, so this is the other vintage piece that we're using. A lot of our sellers yesterday had lots of materials and fabrics. Good morning, Miss Kelly. This is the other one, which is a quilt square. Now, this is from a quilt for sure. A lot of times the pieces, the quilts that maybe Miss Esmeralda gets or offers you may be cut into, you know, like sizes like this. I think this might be like a 16-inch square, or yeah, I think it's a 16-inch. But they may have damage on them, so she may split them up, cut them up, and share the pieces with you all, that you all can use them in projects with your junk journaling or little sewing projects of sorts, things like that. Good morning, Miss Jennifer. Isn't it beautiful? I love it. So those are 3 items that we're using. We're also using a little doily, which has not been coffee stained. I probably should have stained that, but I didn't. Not yet. And then I have a few other little pieces. But what I have been working or thinking about is, let me show you. How many of you have or may have something from a family member that you want to preserve or put on display in some way, but you just don't know how? Maybe it just doesn't coordinate with your room decor, or maybe it just is something that maybe doesn't display well on its own. And so hopefully this idea will give you some inspiration today to do something with those special pieces that maybe you have tucked away. So let me show you the special piece that I have. Now, you all know that I've just moved over within the course of the last year, and occasionally I will be unboxing something and come across something that I have forgotten about or just kind of rediscovered, right? Well, this piece I didn't even know we had. My husband had grabbed this a while back, and it had been tucked away in a box, and I had not seen it. And you know, sometimes there are just little nudges that you just get, and you discover something, and you're thinking, that makes all the perfect sense now of why I was thinking about something or thinking about a person or whatnot. Well, let me show you. I was trying to remember. I read something on the back of this which was connected to what I was thinking about. It was Mother's Day weekend. That's when I discovered this. It was actually Mother's Day weekend when I was unpacking some things. And I came across this little piece. Now, to anyone else, it's just a painting. It looks very vintage and old, right? But it may not be something you want to put up in your home decor. But if it has special meaning, something that has a connection in some way, then you want to find ways to incorporate it, and which is what I'm going to do with this today. And I've been thinking about this for several months since Mother's Day. So that tells you how long sometimes ideas can take to develop. So be patient with things and keep an open mind, and sometimes things will surprise you on how they work out. This was a piece by my husband's mother, which she is no longer with us, but this was a gift that she had made. She had painted this when she was in high school. She was probably 17-ish, 16 or 17 or so, and she gifted this to her mom for Mother's Day. And on the back it has her writing. It says Happy Mother's Day, and she titled it The Empty Jar. She wrote her name. It has her signature and everything on the back, and then on the front she has it dated in the corner with her little signature and the year 1977. So all of these pieces go together. I'm going to tie them together in a way that I can display them in my home. So while I was thinking of that, I thought, well, what other little items or mementos do I have that either have a connection to her in some way or make us think of her in some way? And so I thought, I think I need to create some type of a shadow box wall hanging, right? So that's when I went on the hunt for a shadow box. Now, shadow boxes, they have lots of options in Hobby Lobby. And so that was the first place I went. And I didn't really know what color I wanted to go with. But in my new home, I have lots of wood tones. And so I thought maybe something with a wood tone would help. Let me show you this piece one more time. Would help kind of tone down lots of the whites, okay? Now the white in this background, I'm thinking, I don't have a lot of white in my home, like not like a bright white. I have more like a creamy white. So I have to find a way to connect it. Your eldest daughter was born in 1977. Oh, cool. And so I found this shadow box at Hobby Lobby. Now, shadow boxes can be expensive. However, they do go on sale at Hobby Lobby occasionally. So let me show you this one. The shadow box I've had sitting as long as I've pulled out the picture. So this is the shadow box. It's a 16 by 20 shadow box. And there you can see how thick it is. But shadow boxes are a great option when it comes to displaying vintage keepsakes or mementos or things like that. Good morning. You're going to a fall fair today, Billy. Oh, have fun. I hope you have a great day. Whoop. Drop my staples. Let me pick those up because I'm going to need those in a minute. And on the back, it has a hanger in each corner, but it opens. It opens sort of like a book. Yes, I think so too, to put a collection together, which kind of brings together anything, kind of like a vignette, only in a shadow box, if you will. Now, I've not created shadow boxes before, so this will be my first time. But it has like a canvas backer, okay? Has a little bit of a cushion so that you can pin things in there, okay? So that's what we're going with today. So you can see what I mean. We've got a big items here. Let me move a couple of things out of the way. I'm going to try to create this in a way that I do not interfere with the actual piece itself. Like, I don't want to hot glue anything on the piece. I don't want to damage the piece in any way. And if I ever want to change out the way it's displayed, I can do so easily without pulling anything apart. Okay, you love shadow boxes, Jeannie? Awesome. This will be hopefully a little bit of an inspiration for you. Now this one is a 16 by 20. I think I said that. It's 16 by 20. This regular is $89.99, but I did not pay $89.99 for it. I got it on sale. So I'm going to take that little sticker off. Now, it was a little bit of a challenge finding things that I thought were small enough to fit into this frame, because this frame was only like maybe 1.5 inches or 2 inches thick, wide. So you have to have room to allow it to close, open and close. Thank you so much for sprinkling us out, Miss Gail. I appreciate it so, so much. Okay, let's move the hot glue over here. because, like I said, we need all the space we can get to open this up today. And I'm going to try my best to open it in your direction and put it together that way. Now, I have lots of little keepsakes or little things that we're going to put together. But I think if you really kind of think outside of the box, walk around your house, look through photo boxes and things like that, you will find things that you can use in these shadow boxes. And hopefully I may give you some ideas that you didn't think of, okay? That's the goal. One more thing to move out of the way here. Okay. I even pulled out a little jar lid. I really wanted to use this little jar lid because the theme of the painting is the jar, and I wanted to use this little lid. Now this little lid is too thick. My cover will not close properly with that lid. So I'm still going to use a lid. It's just not going to be that one. I've got to find one. This one, hey Miss Joy, this one has a little bit of a curve on the lid, I guess on the top of the lid you would say, and I need one that's a little more flat, and I think it would fit. But I wanted to take a picture of her and cut it out and use this sort of as a frame in the shadow box. Handmade in Springstead. Hello. Hi Miss Mary, how are you? Marla, you're watching. Thanks for hopping in. Okay, so here we go. Let's see if we can put this together in a way that works. So this is pinned in with some little, I can't think of what these are called, but little pins. I'm just going to pull those out and set these on the side because I may need those again in a minute. I'm going to use this fabric sort of as my background, if you will. All right, so you can leave it just blank like this. It comes with a nice natural canvas backer that you can pin things to. I'm going to use a stapler today. Let me grab just a drink. I'm going to grab a stapler and use that to secure my fabric. Now, this fabric couldn't be more perfect for what I need it for. It fits in perfect. Now, I do have a few threads on the side. Let me grab my scissors real quick and we'll get that taken care of. But the sides really aren't going to show a whole lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of staple it right around the edges, but I'm going to staple it into the wood itself, okay? Now, I want to make sure that it is kind of in there straight, if you will. Okay. I need my staples. You want a staple that is not as thick as your wood, meaning sort of like a screw or a nail. You don't want your screw or your nail to be so long that it goes completely through the wood on, and sticks out the other side. So I had to have a staple. These are 1/4 inch staples that I'm going to load in my stapler. These are very shallow. See how shallow those staples are? They missed them. The fabric, it is from Miss Esmeralda. She was one of our market day sellers yesterday. Her page is called Love It's Garden, and she has amazing fabric pieces that you can purchase from her. Okay, go in there. There we go. All right, turn this on. All right, so that should help us hold that on. Now, if you want a more permanent option, you could use some spray adhesive and spray adhere your fabric down. I wasn't quite ready to commit to that level just yet. Now, if I get it in here and I really like it and I want it to stay for sure, then that's probably what I would do. Okay, so I'm just going to go around the edges. And I'm just going to, I'm going to go in the corners first. The 4 corners. Let's do that. And staple that down around the edges. I'm going to work in opposite corners first. Okay, I'm I'm making sure that that didn't go through. It did not. So I thought it was for a second. Now the backer I don't think is quite as thick as the sides. So I could just take these staples and go around and out of the frame, which I probably will do as well. But you want to make sure that when you hang this up, this fabric is not going to fall down. So you do need it secure. These staples will not even show when you get these. When it's closed, it won't show. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, a couple more. Two more over here. We'll be ready. Okay. I need one up here in the center. Okay. Now, what I can also do is, since I know that I'm going to have a piece here in the center, hiding this center piece right here, I could go ahead and put a few staples in the center, and I think I actually will. I think a couple more. And I can pull that out relatively easily if I want to switch it out and use it for a different display, right? Okay. Next, this quilt square. Now, it has some unfinished edges. And I debated, well, should I use it? Should I fix the edging? I don't know. I think what I will do eventually, see how this has the finished edge? I love that finished edge. And I probably will at some point go in and put a finished little edge on this side right here. But I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. Well, I'll show you what it's going to look like. And I can always go in and add it later. I just kind of want to give you all this idea. This just really came together yesterday in my head on how I wanted to do this. So I've laid this quilt square down, dark side down. This lighter color side is not going to show, but you'll see this fabric works out perfect because it sort of ties in the colors, blues and the reds from the apple and the blue from the jar. That is a battery operated stapler, rechargeable stapler. That's what I was using. That's what I was using. Okay, so this quilt piece, see, it has lots of this white space. I'm trying to make sure that you all can see this. There we go. A lot of this white space that I kind of want to cover a little bit. And I need it to focus more in on the actual subject right here. Good morning, Miss Deborah. Hey, Sandra. You need it? I think it came from Lowe's or Home Depot, somewhere like that. They have them. Now, see what I was thinking about this fabric right here. It's the perfect size, and if I fold it over on the edges, it sort of frames the piece, if you will. Let me hold that up. It sort of puts a frame around it. Good morning, Julie, Jody. So that's what I'm going to do, and it ties in some of the blues and the reds. Now, it's not the same blue, no, but I still think it works and coordinates with the colors of the fabric behind it. So look at this little oven mitt that is right here on this fabric. I don't know if y'all can see it. You might have to shrink your comments for a second if you want to. There's a little oven mitt on here in several parts on this fabric. It has the blue gingham check material on it. Well, it coordinates with this blue check here. There's red in this background color. And then there's also just this cream and browns and whites, which also tie in. So find you some fabrics and materials that coordinate that you can use together. You know what I mean? And it just brings pieces together that you wouldn't normally expect. Okay, so I'm going to put this right in the center. And then I want to bring these edges over. Now remember, I said I don't want to damage the image in any way. So I'm going to stretch these edges down over the corners so that I can staple the fabric down to the back. I'm not going to staple through the painting. I'm just going to staple this little corner of the fabric down to the backer of my shadow box, okay? And that will kind of help it stay in place, and will also hold our painting in place as well. Maybe. It's hard to do upside down. Let me tilt it a little bit. Maybe that'll work. Let's do a tester here. I tell you what we'll do. We'll staple this in place and see if it's working, and then we'll fold the edges up. Let's try that. Okay, it's working. So the key is you have to press down this little footer in order before you push the trigger on it, and it's not wanting to press down with the cushion of that quilting. You got to really press, I think is what it is. Let's do one in the center there. Okay, so I just did like a series of 5 of those. Now let's try again. Let's try on this side. I've got a little more slack on each corner with this one. Make sure I have this centered. Probably should have measured, but oh well, we're all right. Now let's try. There, oh, I didn't press down enough to get it to go all the way through. It's not wanting to go through. We're gonna keep trying. There we go, that worked. Just had to push down a little bit harder. Okay, now let's try this one again. My fabric probably needs to be just a little bit longer than my piece that I'm working with here. I've got another idea. Hold on. Let's snag the corner of that. Let's do this. Let's staple this down and then slide our painting in there. That will work, right? I think. I think. Getting warm. Okay. I know I wanted that right about there. And let's staple. It does not want to staple through that. You know what? Those staples might not be long enough to go through that. That might be the problem. I might have to press just a little bit harder. Let's try one more time. And I'm going to press really hard. Ah, that worked. Okay. We got it. We got it. We got it. Now, let me make sure that I get this one the right distance. Okay, now I'm going to slide this out, and we're going to staple this one. That staple's coming up over there. That staple's not long enough. So I do have longer staples, I just don't have them here at the table. So I will have to get a different staple later. That's what I'll do. A longer staple to secure it. It will staple the fabric together, but it's not long enough to go all the way through to the backer. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We will use these little straight pins, and we will pin it down for right now. We will pin it down, and that will hold it. Okay. And you all may have some better ideas on how to secure that without doing anything physically to the painting itself. That's the goal. Okay, two more here. Let's pin the bottom. Now my goal was to staple that so that that fabric is really pulled tightly so that there's no buckling in the center. I don't want to hold on here. Can't talk and do at the same time this morning. That pen is not wanting to cooperate. There we go. Well, good grief. Why has this got to be so hard? It's not anything hard. It's just not cooperating. We're not going to give up. All right. There we go. That's what I have so far. And I don't want this to buckle right here. So I might use some archival safe tape, double-sided tape, to secure that down in a couple of places, just so that it doesn't bubble on the sides. But do you see how it's pulling together the colors together? Now, we've got an unfinished top and an unfinished bottom. So let's get that fixed next. Good morning, Miss Kim. Hey, Miss Kelvy. Now, this little edging, I love this little crocheted lace-looking edging. I'm going to fold this together like so, and I'm going to use this as the topper. And the pieces that I'm using have sort of, they don't have any connection per se, but they remind me of things that she loves or loved. And so she was always about the small little details, loved lace and just sweet little knickknacks and things like that. So this little doily lace edging reminded me of her when I saw it. She always loved little lace edges and lace collars and things like that. And so I thought this just would be the perfect little topper piece to hide that edging. Now, it's not wanting to staple in. I've got to get my stapler down in there really good on this one. This is not nearly as thick as the quilting. And I'm going to pull it tight over to the other side. And that will also help hide my pins that I have in there. So, there we go. And that's going to just hang just like so. Isn't that pretty? I love that. I love that. Adds a little dimension. And with those shadow boxes, you kind of have to build layers and dimension. So that was my reason behind using lots of these little fabrics too. Now I have a couple other things that I'm pulling out that I think tie in with this collection of items. Look at this. This is something that she drew. This was her dog Daisy, and she even has it dated on the back and even wrote some little things on the back, but it needs a little bit of color around the border. Almost looks like a kitchen window. Yes, that's a great idea. This I think is going to hang in our dining room. That's my plan anyway. So I thought I don't want to glue anything onto the back, to hide any of her handwriting or anything like that. So I thought I would take this little piece of burlap and trim it down to where it just has a little bit of a border around the outside. Reminds you of a curtain that your grandma had in the kitchen. Oh, I love that. I love when things bring back memories that you have just forgotten about. Isn't that so fun? And I think that's why I love vintage things so much. They just have a way of connecting you with memories and with people who have passed on, and just in unexpected ways. That's what I love. That's what I love. You may see something on the shelf at an antique store that you hadn't thought about in decades. But isn't it funny how you can see something and it automatically sparks a memory, right? I love that. I'm just going to kind of trim this up a little bit so that it's a square shape to mimic the square of her little canvas here. And I'm going to pull these threads out a little bit so that it looks a little frayed, not afraid. You know what I mean. It looks a little tattered around the edges. Okay. Now I think what I'll do with this is I will staple this little burlap piece to the back of this little frame. I think a staple for this will be fine. With this little burlap, I don't think the staples are going to hurt anything, and that way it can always be taken off. And I'm only going to tack it, I think, in 2 spots. I'm not going to go crazy with the tacks here, just enough to kind of hold it. Yeah. And that way it's not like a glue. It's not going to it's not going to pull off anything that we want to save. Actually, yeah. And that way I can I take that off really easily and no harm done there. You can still see the little note and the handwriting on the back, but yet when I put it in the shadow box, it just has a little wonky little background, just enough to give it a little bit of definition around the edge. And so I'm going to put that somewhere down here at the bottom. Let's see here. Good morning, Miss Susie Lee. I hope you're feeling better, friend. Let me tilt this up a little bit. I'm just going to start putting some items down here along the bottom that will kind of hide my unfinished edge down here. So I've got a couple other pieces. Let me grab these. I think I'm going to put this over here in the corner on this side, and I'll pick it back up and show you here in just a little bit. I'm not going to be concerned about gluing it down. I think it'll be fine. Now I have this little angel ornament, which I don't think she gave this to me, but I feel like it has a good little connection. She loved these willow tree figurines, and of course it has an angel. It has a little lantern on it, and it does make me think of her. She loved little lanterns and candlelight. She loved candlelight. So I'm going to put this down in the bottom corner, and you'll see where it's going to kind of fall into place here. This little angel, though, she is almost too thick to put in here and me to be able to close the door. So I had to kind of reposition her wings, the wires for her wings, in order to get her to fit. Okay, so let me pick it back up. She's going to go down at the bottom. Okay, now a couple other things that I wanted to be sure and add. And I still might do something with that little puppy dog picture. I feel like it needs a little bit of splash of color. I've got an idea. Let me grab somewhere over here. Yes, here we go. Let's tie. We're not going to glue or anything like that. I'm just going to take a little bit of this twine and I'm going to wrap it around the top to give it just a little bit of color. And then I'm going to add something else to give it a little bit of color. Just a second. Let's tie this over on the corner. Okay. Cut that. And then what I'm going to do, so I just added a little bit of twine at the top of that. I have some little, you could use vintage buttons if you have some buttons, maybe from your grandmother's sewing collections, or, oh, let's see, what else? I can't think off the top of my head, but I don't have any like real buttons, but I have used like Model Magic or air dry clay and made some little buttons and painted them at one time. And I use these a lot for different things, but I think I could glue that little button onto my little twine string right there without gluing it onto the picture itself, and that would give it a little splash of color. So that's what I'm gonna do. Let's see. I'm going to put the glue on the twine very carefully. Like I said, I don't want to get anything on her drawing, her little painting. This is just a pencil drawing. But I'm trying to keep everything preserved. That way it can be changed out for another, you know, any other purpose. And you can take all of my things off. Okay, so that gives it just a little touch of color. Isn't that cute? And that will tie in a little bit of that red down there at the bottom. Just like so. Yeah, love that. Okay, now where I have, hold on. I have a recipe card that is in her handwriting. And I had it over here. What did I do with it? Oh, don't tell me. Don't tell me. Okay, we're going to keep going for a minute, but I'm going to have to find that in a second. The recipe card. It was on a little white index card, and I moved it over here this morning somewhere. Well, there you go. There goes everything right there. Maybe it's under my box. No, it's not. Okay, we'll find it somewhere. Okay, for this, I'm going to take a little candle. She loved candlelight. So I think what I'm going to do with this, this is just a little flickering battery operated light. Turn it on and it flickers, right? But I don't want this to be seen, right? So I thought I'm going to use this little doily, and I'm going to tie it up with a little bit of that little twine, that little jute string that we had just a minute ago. And I'm going to make like a little doily candle holder, right? I looked, and it's not under the shadow box. I know it's like right here. It's got to be like under my feet or something. Because I literally just had it this morning. Oh, goodness. Okay, that's okay. It will turn up. It will turn up. So I'm going to let's just cut a piece of this twine off. And I'm going to use that to wrap it around the bottom of this. That way when I need to change out the batteries, I can do so really easily. And this is on a timer, so I don't have to worry about turning it on and off. But even if I needed to, I can just slip this off and then just slip it right back on. And this little twine will give it a little bit of color too. And I kind of like the way it makes that little doily kind of bunch up like a little buttercup. Okay, I do need it tight though, so I'm going to tie it pretty tight and just wind it around a few times. I need a third hand. That's what I need. And then I'm just going to take and I'm going to pinch and pull out those little pleats to make sure that those really show, like a little ruffle. Isn't that cute? Okay, so let's tie this tight on the back. And I think this will also be cute because it'll kind of give a special little light to this box. And she loved candlelight. She loved candlelight. So I thought, I know, I've looked everywhere on the floor. I'm going to get up here in a second because that is for sure going in here. Good morning, Miss Jo Helen. Hey, Miss Penny from Remake It Pretty. How are you, friend? Miss Penny will be live in our Vintage and Thrifted event today. Can't wait to see what she's making. Okay. I may just leave that dangling right there. No, I don't like it dangling. Okay. Cut that off. And this also kind of ties in a little bit of the white from the lace up at the top, and it kind of brings it down to the different part of our frame here. And I kind of want it like right around here. I don't want it to sink all the way to the bottom. And that's another reason why I put that little doily around it, to kind of give it, I don't know, a resting spot, if you will. Okay. So a couple more things, and then I'm going to hold this up to where you can actually see it a little bit better. Now, she always had this thing with bluebirds. And the kids know this too. She was always talking about bluebirds and birds in general. And so I had this little bird, and I thought this would be the perfect addition to this piece up here, because this is kind of getting lost in the lace. I feel like it needs a little bit of something up here. And so my thought, I can't use that side because it has a pattern on it. I could recover it, but I'm not gonna do that because I kind of like the soft tones of the white. Although it kind of just blends in, it's still there. Let me hold that up. It still kind of blends in without taking away from the actual photo or her painting. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to put glue on the, let me put something under it. I'm going to actually put glue on that lace and then just stick the bird on. I don't want that hot glue to go down to the painting. So I'm going to make sure that it's dry and secure before thinking this through. Okay, once I get it on there and pressed, I'm going to take that little notepad out. I'm going to lift this up. Okay, I don't want the notepad to be stuck there, so I'm going to give it just a minute to kind of dry. And then it'll be safe to lay down and it won't damage the painting. Okay. All right. So I've got to find that recipe card, y'all. Okay. Let me get up for just a second. Recipe card. Where are you? Where are you? Did it stick to my computer a while ago? No. Let me pick this up. Make sure it's not stuck to the back. Oh, I think I see it. I think I see it. All the way down here. I got it. I got it. It fell behind my sewing machine that was over here on the floor. Could I lightly distress the edges of the bird? That's a great idea. I probably could do that. I could probably do that really easily too. Let's put this back over here. This glue. Okay, open this back up now that we got that. Okay, let's go down. It already has a little bit of a darkness around the edges. It's just real subtle, and I think that's kind of the reason why I like it there. I'll probably have to look at it. It's kind of one of those things you'll look at for a little bit, and you might think of something else you want to change it up or something like that. But here's another little piece of something that's, okay, I had to get those staples off. This is a handwritten recipe card of hers, and she was not much on cooking, but she had a few recipes that everybody loved. And so she had written this down on a recipe, on an index card, and I think gave it to us for one of our bridal showers when we were getting married. You know how they asked for recipes, you know, from family members or whatnot. And so she had written this down on a card, and I have saved it. I've kept it in my recipe box. And I pulled it out last week, actually, and I thought, I need to use that in some way. So it even has some of her little, you know, she scribbled something out on that, and it's just a connection to her. And so what I wanted to do is just kind of catty corner put that at the top. But before I do that, I do want to take a little bit of distress ink, not a lot, just a little bit. I'm going to get, let's try this. I'm trying to think. I've got these little distress ink pads. You all know I love using these. Gosh, that one's not even going to come open. What in the world? There we go. And just kind of go around the edges really lightly. Give a little bit of definition to the edge of that card, because the white is going to blend right in with the white background that I'm going to put it on. So I don't want to cover up any of her writing. I just want to give the edge of the card a little bit of color. Now, if you have something, you could make a copy of it and use it. You don't have to use the original if you don't want to. But for me, I thought preserving the original in this is kind of part of the reason why I like doing it. And I'll just touch the edges of this bird a little bit with this. And that might kind of tie in the color of what I'm using on that card. So we can do that really quick and just barely brush it. I don't want anything to be super dark or heavy in color. Okay, there we go. I like that. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to use, I have some archival safe double-sided tape. And I'm only going to put like 2 small pieces on here. This card is super light, so I don't think it's going to need a whole lot. So I'm going to put 2 small little squares of this on the back of that recipe card in a spot that doesn't have her writing. She wrote on the back of this card too. Okay, and I think I want to just kind of tuck that somewhere on an angle right there. But one more little piece that I want to put on here is a heart. And this is made from Model Magic as well. And I painted it I painted them the same time that I made the little buttons. And she was always big on hearts. Do you see down at the bottom there? She always loved adding a little heart to anything. And so I thought, how perfect would that be to add that on top of that little recipe card, and that would hide the little scribble on there, which the scribble doesn't bother me. But I just thought if she would see this, she would want that scribble hidden, you know. So let me move these scissors over a little bit. And I want to see, before I get that pressed down, I want to kind of see it from, let me hold it up a little bit. I still feel like I need to see it from the front before I stick that down. And then that way I can know if I'm happy with the placement of it. Let me turn it around a little bit more. And then that way I know I'll get the placement right. So I'm thinking, should I put it on an angle? I do. Oh, okay, that's it right there. So let's get another little piece of that tape. And I'm going to put just a tiny bit on the back of that heart. The heart, they're made from Model Magic. They're super lightweight as well. So this is double-sided, but I'm still going to double it a little bit. And I think what I might actually do is I might stick this to the lace so that it hangs down where I need it to. I don't want to put anything extra on top of that painting if I don't have to. And if that card is kind of ruffled and wrinkled a little bit and it sticks up, that I like that because it kind of gives it a little bit of extra dimension. So I'm going to put that double-sided tape right on the back there. And then that double-sided tape's not wanting to stick. Let's try that. And if it doesn't stick, I got another idea. We could use some vintage clothespins and clip it onto the side of our fabric, or we could clip it so that it hangs from the lace. That's another thought. If you're trying to do something sort of like I am without damaging anything. Okay, that's sticking for now, but I might have to do the same thing with that and put a little bit of glue on the back of that heart and stick it to the lace. That's what I might have to do. Okay, now as for this candle, I've got to figure out where I want this candle. I did kind of lay it all in here last night to see where the light kind of hit it the best. And I've got this little nest as well, but I'm not sure this nest is going to kind of fit. I'm not going to do anything. She loved bird nests, bird eggs, birds, anything with birds. So I think I'm going to just kind of tuck that right in there with the angel. It kind of has the same color tones. And then as far as this goes, I may just be able to close the door, and the pressure from the door may hold that candle in place. We'll see. It would be cute if the candle illuminated the recipe. Yes, it will. It will, from where this is, and that's one of the other reasons. And I'm thinking, you know, at the beginning, if you weren't on here, since the theme of her painting is this jar, I wanted to put a photo of her in a vintage jar lid and use it sort of as the frame with her photo in there. This jar lid is the only one I could find in. I think I turned them into Christmas tree ornaments. So I'm going to have to get some new ones. But this one was just a little bit too thick for my door to close. So I'm thinking I want to use this somewhere at the top. I still have the price tag on this one. Use this at the top with her picture in the top of it. But you can kind of see. Let me just see if I can close it a little bit. I'm going to close it a little bit. Yeah, it's going to break my glass. But I want that photo to go at the top up there. Now this is a magnetic closure. Now let's see, here's the test. Will everything stay put when I hold it up? There, y'all can see my reflection of my lights there. Now when I hold it up right, that little candle flickers. And I just think that would be so cute. And just add this little up here in this little corner. This needs one more little piece, and that's where I'm going to put a little jar lid with her picture in there. And I think that those colors just pull everything together. And then I can add, you know, if I find other little things, I can add them in the bottom, or tack them on the sides as we find pieces or things that, you know, maybe were hers or whatever. But I think that's a perfect start. So take some of those pieces that you have and think of how you can tie them together with vintage pieces. I know you all have probably handwritten notes or handwritten cards or recipes that maybe you can pull out and, you know, connect them with maybe newspaper clippings or family photos and things like that. Just get creative. Take those pieces out that mean something to you and put them together and put them on display in your home so that you can enjoy them and so that your family can enjoy them for many years to come, you guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of today for the Vintage and Thrifted DIY Day. Thank you so much for being here today. And I know myself and all of the other creatives and the market day sellers, we do really appreciate you. Have a wonderful weekend.